Today, we are at Amazon Accelerate, and we have two very interesting conversations, one about AMC and what was released, and also all about your customer journey with the help of AI. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. We are still here in Seattle at Accelerate. We've got a couple great guests today, and our first one here is Isaac from Amazon. How's it going?
So good. Thank you so much for having me.
I always like to ask a few questions about where you grew up, university, things like that. So where were you born and raised?
So I actually come from San Jose, Costa Rica, and Central America.
Nice. Until what age were you there?
So I still live there.
You still live there?
Yeah. Amazon has a lot of employees there, so I'm one part of them. So I kind of live in paradise, but it's great.
I love that. Yeah, a lot of people go there, to retire and have a nice life, but you're living la pura vida right over there this whole time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So did you attend university down there?
Yeah, so I actually got a master's degree in analytics, innovation, technology in INCAE Business School, which is a major business school in Central America.
Wow, nice. Okay. And so how long have you been at Amazon now?
So I've been in Amazon for about 2.5 years. I've been working as a senior customer success manager. So I have a portfolio of sellers that I help them in order to get strategic recommendations for growth, recommendations for advertising, and pretty much to understand their business, see what Amazon has to offer, and connect them with specialists in order to get growth where we want to.
I love it. I've never met somebody I didn't even know there was customer success department here. So that's great.
Yeah.
So we're talking about customers. And so, being in customer success, obviously your customers are Amazon sellers, but we Amazon sellers, our customers are our customers. And so what have you seen with your customers about the struggles they have with their customers, about their knowledge of them and things like that?
So what I've seen in my experience, it's mainly that sellers tend to have something that I call the operational trap, right? So they're so into solving issues regarding inventory, accounting, or logistics. And that's fine, right? You have to make sure that your company is going to still sell for the next couple months. So you have to solve issues. And sometimes you have so much data, so much information, and so little time to think ahead when you have your house kind of burning, right? So you have to focus on that. So that operational trap is mainly the main issue they have. Second one will be around not to understand the potential of growth that you have in data. There's so many numbers, so many dashboards, and you know that they're useful for some things, but sometimes you don't know how to use it, right? And maybe you don't have the time. So thinking that the data is too complex to take it into your hands, it's like the second main issue, right? And the third one will be mainly thinking that the product that you created at the first time is for one customer and is not going to change over time.
Yeah.
So customers are complex. They change. And if you don't get along with the change with your customers, maybe the value offered you started with at the beginning in the day that you created your listing, maybe it's not useful anymore for your new customers. Trends change, customers change, and we have to get along with that.
Yeah. So you talk about data. I think a lot of Amazon sellers, when they think of data, of course, they're like, hey, we use Helium 10 to look for, keyword research and my advertising data and the profits. But a lot of sellers, they forget to use data to actually get some insights into the customer. So what kind of data is available in Seller Central that can help, this problem?
So there are mainly 4 sources of information sellers have access since the very first day they join Amazon. So first of all, it's a demographics dashboard that tells us a little bit more about who the customer is, how much money they're making, if they're married or not, and something, right? We have repeated customer behavior. So there we can find and identify specifically which are the items that customers like the most. The market basket analysis tells us more about what is the purpose of purchasing your product, right? So that tells us a lot of information regarding customers and why are they purchasing from us. And order reports can help us to actually know the zip code of the orders, right? So if we know where the product is going to, if we know who is buying from us, and we know what are the patterns and mainly the reason they're purchasing from us, then we can build a customer persona and also using that information and put it into an AI, right? Will tell you a lot more about psychographics of this person. Okay.
So you mentioned AI, LLMs. How can sellers use that? You know, like maybe somebody doesn't use a lot of AI. They're not very familiar with it. Hey, I know how to get the data from Helium 10 about, you know, like you mentioned, where's the zip codes of where people are buying. I know how to look at what keywords they're converting for in advertising, but they don't see the bridge to get to the part where does AI come into this picture?
So I have several prompts I like to use with my clients. So let's go over some of them. So first of all, first step is identify your competitor's value offer. So you can use AI. So you can say, hey, dear LLM, whatever you would like to use, please analyze 1,000 reviews from my competitors and let me know what is the value offer they're delivering to the customer. Another example. Hey, LLM, please analyze these 1,000 reviews from my competitors and let me know what are the top 3 questions our customers are making right before they open the box. Mm-hmm. When we understand the value our competitors are offering, we understand what is valuable to the customer. And the idea is not to copy our competitors, but identify how can our value offer can be put it into A+ content, for example, right? To solve the customer questions. Number 2 will be to go ahead, download the data, all these reports I was mentioning, and then with AI, ask to create a psychographics report. What is that? It's mainly to understand based on where this person lives, how much does he or she earns. Please let me know what are the values, aspirations, routines, maybe what keeps them up at night. What does my customer persona smells like, right? What maybe brand of car does she or he uses? If we can understand how my brand logo fits into their life, then I'll understand better my persona.
Sure.
And from there, right, I always tell my sellers, look for a picture on the internet that resembles your customer persona. Print it, paste it in your office, and every day that you enter to your office, say, hey, let's call it Josh. Hey, Josh, I'm building something from you. Hey, Josh, the next ad I'm going to create, you're going to love it. Now that you have the data from Seller Central, analyzed with AI, and you have committed to this persona, just change it and then try it. So start creating value to your customer, and then from there, just start experimenting a lot.
You know, I think there's a lot of spouses of our listeners out there who are going to get mad at me. They're like, my husband or wife is now talking to pictures on his wall every day and talking to them more than me. But hey, guys, it's for a reason, all right? Listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. Now, I think you mentioned A+ content a few minutes ago, product listings. So all this data, you know, we have it. Josh is telling you some data that you want to have for your listings. How do you now, what's the best practice for incorporating some of this into A+ content, product images, product listing, et cetera?
Straightforward answer is you have to help your customer make the purchase decision. And you have to make your customer think, this is exactly what I need without explicitly saying it, right? What do I mean by this? I mean that if you know who your customer is, if you know their routine in their normal day from them, right? You know what they're looking for and understand how he makes the decision of purchasing something, right? More very specific. If you're talking about a company of sports equipment, for example, if we know that our customer drives a high value car, right? Maybe just saying, hey, did you know that our product fits your trunk and the texture is so soft, it will not damage your trunk in any way? That is just you offering value to the customer and solving a question they might have in the future. Mm-hmm. And you're saying it in your A+ content. So including A+ content information that matches your customer persona aspirations, needs, and questions. That is helping the customer make the purchase decision.
And I think, you know, using AI, sometimes you can get insights. Like maybe I've never had a fancy car, so I don't know what somebody with a fancy car might want. But I could see how, again, we can leverage stuff. These are conversations we never would have had, 5-6 years ago. It was like, how would you know you just got to go do some market research or something. But now we can have it in seconds. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so now let's talk about this in action. These are just words, but I'm sure you're saying this because you've had experience, or some of your customers have had experience. So can you give some real world examples?
Yeah. So I've been managing sellers for more than a couple of years. And I have several success stories, but this is one of the ones that I love the most. So I used to have a seller that sells seeds from plants, flowers, right? Vegetables.
Okay.
So they have the listing complete. They have A+ content, brand story, some videos, and some information. So technically it was complete, right? But was it good? That is something difficult to tell, right? So you can just use that model of prompts that I'm using. So their A+ content tells you about where the seeds were produced, the certifications regarding GMO, if they were not, right? And maybe this was complete and good. We start using this model. We analyze the reviews, ask the AI, tell me which is the most unexpected value the customer is finding into our products. And then we discover that actually customers were feeling happy about seeing the first sprout of a plant growing in their kitchen under the light of the window. And they were so happy to be able to brag about a basket full of vegetables they were able to grow in their backyard. So customers were telling us the value they were feeling about our product. And maybe the A+ content, though it was complete, it was not able to showcase that value, right? We change it. So based in that information, understanding the customer and what is she or he feeling the value we're offering through the product, we did some changes. What we did is actually to change all our A+ content. Maybe the information about where the seeds are produced, it's important. But in this case, it was not important for the customer, is who is going to purchase from us. What we did is actually put some emotions to it. So we tell the customer, hey, this is how you will feel once you have that first flower in your kitchen. This is how you will feel when you give these flowers to your mom, right? So talking about how people feel through the process of growing a plant, and maybe you don't know, maybe you haven't ever planted something, and you can now do it now with our high quality seeds, right? So through the A+ content, we were able to teach and show the customer how will they feel through the process, solving many questions and addressing emotions. And there was a big increase in the first part of the funnel, right? So we were able to see how the increase between consideration and then totally up to auto carts, right? So that's one of the stories I love, and it was so emotional to see the transformation of this A+ content.
So I imagine their conversion rate increased, because when you're talking about optimizing for A+ content, that's going to help. So conversion rate increases. Click-through rate's not going to increase based on the main image, but this is important because conversion rate overall is pretty low across the board. Just because Amazon is such a great catalog. I'm an Amazon customer. I'll usually click on 5, 6, 7, 8 things, before I actually make the decision. That's normal. It doesn't mean I'm not even a picky person. My mom probably would spend even, more time looking through stuff. But then the more you can get that emotional connection, with them, it's not a keyword. Sure, you have to have the right keywords in your listing, because otherwise they would have never found you in the first place, or, seen your ad. But then when you get them on the page, if you can hook them, with that emotional connection, that's definitely going to help things. Let's go back to the beginning when we talked about building that Josh, or that customer persona, and what specific tools in Seller Central or tool would sellers go to start getting the data that would help build that persona?
Market basket analysis is one of the dashboards that I love the most. So what you will find here is information regarding how many times a customer from you pick 2 or 3 things together, either from your brand or from someone else's, right? So this gives us information regarding why is he or she buying the product. What do I mean? If I'm selling lamps, for example, it's very different just to say, hey, this customer purchased just 1 lamp. but maybe they purchase them and some books. So I know they might be needing a solution in order to create an environment when they can happily enjoy their hobby of reading, right? That's something that we're looking for. What is the intent of purchasing? If we're able to predict that, we can use AI to analyze tons of information at the same time. So you can ask the AI, hey, AI, look at these results of what people are buying with my products and someone else's. What are your suggestions regarding using? And once you know that, then you can just showcase it in your A+ content, right? Why don't you tell Josh in your A+ content, did you know that this is the perfect light that reflects your pages and the ideas of your book into your mind? How do you feel about that, right? And if you are able to make Josh see himself into the A+ content, that will be great. Also, now that we know why are they using the products, why don't we use normal people, right? I always tell my sellers, you can use your mom, your siblings, and to create some images. Please create A+ content with real people. You don't need models, right? You can use it with AI, but very simple, realistic pictures of real people using it. It will be more relatable to Josh, right? We humans are just wired to be able to feel comfortable if we see someone looks like us using something. And that's going to drive a lot of clicks through the page.
Excellent, excellent. So here at Accelerate, I think AI was definitely the theme of this year. I mean, they talked about AI last year. Were you at Accelerate last year?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so trust me, they talked a little bit about AI. This year you were here, you saw how much they talked about. It was a lot more, exponentially more. And I think that's just that's a new world that we live into. So this is very, actionable and timely information. But maybe some closing thoughts for you from your viewpoint of what sellers can do, how they can leverage AI to help them, expand how they deal with customers. What do you suggest people start getting into? Like me, I'm actually a little bit new to AI. Like I didn't even use like ChatGPT on my phone until maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was still doing old school Google and stuff. I've been like a late adopter a little bit. So what would you tell people like me, sellers out there who haven't adopted too much AI yet?
What I would say is actually try to do it with the very basic stuff, right? If you're saying that you were not very used to use it, why don't you try to use it in your morning routine? Maybe your breakfast, say, hey, for tomorrow, just take a picture of your breakfast and say, how can I improve my breakfast for tomorrow? Start getting alongside and comfortable with the ideas that will not be able, or maybe that you were not able to create by yourself. What do I mean by this? You have to start making yourself feel comfortable with different ideas, right? Because AI will not tell you maybe what you want to hear, because maybe you have a persona in your mind of maybe who was purchasing from you. And maybe the data is telling you something else. So you have to, first of all, feel comfortable with downloading data and feel comfortable with actually triggering your ideas.
Yeah.
Right? In the past, you were not able to understand stories through numbers. Now you can do it with AI, right? And the more you get into it and more comfortable with these suggestions and being able to say, let's try it out, right? I may not agree with it, but data is telling me this, let's try it out. And actually, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So every single day, we're walking through having more automated dashboards that will tell us a lot of information, maybe summarized and maybe some raw information. But from here, we can learn and just be ready for that changes, right? And also, you have to be ready to see others doing it. So you might be thinking, as a seller, well, yeah, it's funny, it's too complex, we might do it later. Okay, you're gonna start seeing your competitors doing it. You're gonna start seeing more of your competitors having AI-generated pictures and images and delivering value to the customer. Sellers are gonna start giving more value, more keywords, specifically where the customers are looking for it. And now it's the time for you to prepare for what's going on, right? So that's mainly the main idea that I want you guys to understand. This is the moment to start.
Yeah. So then now I've started getting a little bit more into AI. I leverage some of the things that you mentioned, like looking at reviews and customer persona and market basket analysis. Any other Amazon specific tips for that sellers can do that you haven't mentioned yet about how they can leverage AI?
So there's no big science to it more than just go do it, right? So there's two categories, right? We have the sections of Seller Central that has their raw data that are the dashboard that I mentioned. And there's the other section of Seller Central that are the data analyzed, right? Regarding dashboards and so. So my suggestion is go to start conversations, right? So what I'm telling you today is that actually this information with AI, with customer persona, and understanding that Josh customer is just a conversation starter, right? Remember the picture in the wall of your office, right, for your customer? It's just to commit to be able to deliver more value to them, right? Because I know that every single seller has a lot of value to offer to their customer, and maybe they are not thinking that the competitor is gonna go up and up again, right? So we got to get ready. So we have to start taking these conversations, making sure that using the right raw data, and comparing it to the dashboard that they are already analyzed for that. If we align that information, the actions and the conversations, I think you're gonna be in the right path.
And guys out there, a lot of you have Helium 10, so you are going to be able to do some of this stuff pretty easily. He mentioned, looking at keyword data and bringing that in, like publish your or print your search term reports or download your search term reports from what has converted for you in advertising. Download your search query performance. You can do that like over a big period of time in Helium 10. What are the keywords that people used that Amazon is saying you got sales for? We have in Helium 10 something called inventory heat maps. It gives you a heat map of where all your customers are. So geographically, that's something that's not the reason for it. The reason we have that tool is just so you can see where your customers are, and maybe you need to send more inventory to a certain place. But when he mentioned that, hey, the geography of where your customers are might tell a story, behind it. So take a picture of that, and then now put all of these things into an LLM or any kind of AI that you're using, and start playing with it. See what kind of insights you can get by combining all of the data that Helium 10 has, that Amazon has, and build your own Josh, or let's call it Sally. Might be a Sally there. And this also helps even later when you start polling. We have that polling tool in Helium 10 called Helium 10 Audience, where I can actually choose certain cohorts of real people to give a poll, like, hey, Prime members. But then maybe Josh, we find, is a 40 to 50-year-old male who has this kind of salary, based on what we found from Amazon's data. You can actually choose that in Helium 10 Audience, so that when you are trying to actually, say, hey, which image is the best, which A+ content is the best, or which product should I launch more, you're almost speaking to 50 different Joshes or Sallys. And so, guys, data is the key. And I think, sellers sometimes think too much about just the analytics side of data for like SEO or, listing optimization and things like that, which is important, but they don't realize that you can actually use a lot of this data to get in the customer, persona. And what's the word you taught me to? Psycho something.
Psychographics.
Psychographic data. We all learned a new vocabulary word today. So Isaac, thank you so much, for this. I'm going to have to see, you probably, I know you don't know this, but, one strategy that sometimes, one of our trainers has said for years, when you have trouble getting customer support sometimes, if you speak Spanish, he says, ask for the Spanish customer support, because it reroutes you to the Costa Rica team, and they have a really high level of support. So it must have been you over there supporting the team that allowed for that. But your reputation precedes you, and maybe you'll be my customer success manager one of these days for my accounts.
Awesome. We'll love to see it. Awesome.
All right. Well, this was your first Accelerate. I hope to see you next year, and let's see what's new in this aspect there.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, so we're here in the Amazon Ads content studio. I feel like we're in a little dome here almost, and people are watching us from the outside here. I love it.
A little awkward, yeah. But.
We got Alan here. Alan, first time on the show, so I'd like to get a little bit of your background first before we get into it. You based here in Seattle, or were you based?
Actually based in Colorado.
Colorado, okay.
So my name is Alan Lewis. I'm a director of product for the Amazon Marketing Cloud team, which we started that team in Colorado about 7 years ago.
Okay, interesting. Is that where you were born and raised?
No, I was actually born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
So second.
Where'd you go to college at?
At UC Santa Barbara. So it's in California.
Gauchos.
That is the Gauchos.
Oh yes, I always
got
try
it.
and like think of like the mascots of different colleges. Okay, UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. You're the first Gaucho I think we've had on the show. All right, and then how long you been at Amazon?
For just under 7 years. So I came in as the first product manager working on Amazon Marketing Cloud, and then before then I've worked in tech now total for over 25 years.
Okay, awesome. Now, I've got some questions here from users who have heard about the announcements that we talked about here at Accelerate about AMC that I'm going to get to, but I want to take a couple steps back because I think like a lot of the audience, myself, I don't have too much experience with AMC because, and that's kind of like the announcement is like, hey, now it's kind of democratized and now more people get it. So you already said what it stands for, Amazon Marketing Cloud, and how long it's been around. Previous to right now, what has advertisers been utilizing AMC for?
So just to try to explain a little bit about what it does, I think that's the best way to get a sense of it. It's a tool. It's a software tool that you can use to better understand all the dynamics of your ad campaigns. Now, what kind of dynamics? Well, it's certain things like going deeper than you would get from the out-of-the-box reports. So it's probably best to illustrate by example.
Okay.
So let's say you have like multiple different campaigns. So if you just have a single ASIN, a very simple keyword-based campaign, there's some insights that you can get out of that.
Sure.
But especially as you grow, or if you want to grow, and you have multiple campaigns, you have different products. Maybe you have a product that is where people start off with your brand, but you might try to upsell them to other products. Well, understanding like how people move or are exposed to different campaigns over time, what products they might purchase first from your brand and then move up to other products. These are some of the kinds of dynamics that we haven't had ways, especially not ways out of the box, to help people get those kind of insights. And then once you have those insights, it's the next part of it is about turning that into action.
Yeah.
So once you know something, how can you adjust your bidding? How can you, if you're using the DSP, craft audiences that really help you take those insights and then use them to get more customers, to get the people, to reach the people that are most likely to purchase your product.
Absolutely. And then historically, one of the reasons why I hadn't used it before, or most didn't before, didn't you have to know like programming or SQL and like different things like that the common person is, like you said, it wasn't just available there in your advertising console and Seller Central.
Yeah. So with AMC, it started out like when we started the product, it didn't even have a graphical UI.
Yeah.
It was just a set of APIs. And over time, we've built more and more tools to help people use the powerful features of the product. Because it started with that power, that customization, building a SQL support, which is it's a language for doing analytics. It's very commonly used, but it takes specialized skills.
Yeah.
And so we've built templates over time. We've built what we call the no-code kinds of tools built into AMC that they don't strip away the power, but they bring that into the hands of a lot more people and make that power a lot more accessible.
Yeah. Now, one of the first things that even before Accelerate that I guess was launched a few months ago, and we actually even ingested that into Helium 10 is the ability to look at like custom audiences and how powerful that can be. And already I've seen a little bit of that, where some advertisers are able to advertise to audiences that are like more likely to buy, and their ROAS is just really gets really great. Can you talk about that aspect of things, about the custom audiences part of AMC?
Yeah. So as we were building AMC, first we focused on the DSP. So as a much smaller cohort of advertisers, people doing like video campaigns, display ad campaigns. We then opened it up to include both the sponsored ads advertisers too. We first launched audience support for the DSP, and this was an announcement we made last year of bringing that audience targeting for bidding on sponsored ads. Yes. So that with the huge seller community, with the huge set of sponsored ads advertisers, has provided some of those tools in ways that were not really possible before to get once you identify a cohort of customers, then either to reach that segment of customers on the DSP, or increase your bid amount so that when those customers are exposed to your products, or when they're eligible, when they're searching on them, that your ads and thus your products are more likely to get in front of those high propensity customers.
What's an example of like one of those cohorts?
One of the this is both easy to understand and quite popular is people who've added your product to their cart. So it's a kind of remarketing activity of like, okay, how do we get people who are clearly interested over the line? How do we get them to purchase? Well, part of that is just reminding them that that there's products that might be of interest to them, and especially if they're searching again for the product, or on that keyword, getting your product in front of them that's already in their cart. That's going to be a pretty effective way to make sure that anybody who in fact can be compelled to purchase, that they have that reminder through your ads.
So just think, those of you out there, you might have a keyword you're targeting and you're just opening it up to the world, which is fine. It's going to have a conversion rate. Maybe that conversion rate, like let's say is 2% or 3%. You're happy with that as long as you're profitable. Well, that's going to everybody, and not everybody is equal as far as like the chances that they're going to buy. But now all of a sudden, you're targeting that same keyword, but now the ones who are seeing your ad or this particular, maybe you're boosting your bid based on this audience, there are people who have added your product to the cart. Imagine exponentially how much more likely they are to actually go through with it, as opposed to just, going after the whole entire world. That 3%, could be 15%, even 5x, whatever your conversion rate was before. And so it makes sense to like have a modifier on there to, you'd be willing to pay double almost if you're going to get 5x the likelihood. So that definitely was a game changer. And my first question here, just from somebody who saw the announcement, was like, all right, well, what does this mean for me? This announcement. First of all, talk about the announcement, and then how is this going to kind of like change the game for the average advertiser out there who hasn't dabbled in AMC?
So what we announced here at Accelerate this week is that AMC is now open to every sponsored ads advertiser. It's present in ad consoles. So if you log in, as long as you have an ad console account, you log in on the left nav, go under measurement reporting, and then right there, you'll see a link to Amazon Marketing Cloud. You click that link, and then things are set up in about under a minute, and you're ready to go. And you get a really friendly homepage with a lot of widgets that help you see what kind of the insights you can get from AMC, because that's really the best starting point. As for what people can do with it, well, one of the things to emphasize is this is a tool.
Yes.
We have templates, we have some things that we've built up, especially that once we see what customers are most interested in, this can help other people do those kind of very common use cases. But a lot of what's exciting about it, and a lot of what makes it unique, is it's not just about the features or the particular use cases that we identify. It's providing customers those raw materials so that they can build whatever they want, which is what you want. You want to get some unique insight, or you probably already have a unique insight about whatever your business is, whatever you're selling, and about what kinds of customers you think might be best, or what kinds of marketing strategies might give you an edge. This is a way to help both find those kind of unique insights and then take action against them. That's what I think is most exciting about AMC.
Awesome. Well, what are some more of those different insights that you're able to glean from AMC?
Just drawing from a lot of the pre-built templates that we have, again, just to help illustrate, what some of the more basic capabilities are. Obviously, sponsored ads is keyword based. But it's click based. As you look at the funnel, though, as you think about a marketing funnel, understanding how often you're reaching people at the top of the funnel. So when you're trying to build awareness, like how, given the way that you've set up your campaigns, how often are you reaching them? How often are you reaching them over time? Where are there pockets of different segments of customers who you're reaching in certain ways? So really understanding those broader dynamics. Where if you're a brand advertiser, that might be your main metric that you're optimizing for is things around reach. but giving a lot of those kinds of insights for marketers who are focused on the lower funnel too.
Yeah.
This gives them a lot of those just an understanding of the more complete funnel. Another just kind of insight I think is around a lot of the e-commerce dynamics. It's an average. AMC is a product from Amazon Ads, but of course with Amazon, it's like our ad business is very closely tied to the Amazon store and how people find your product through search, through upgrading from one product, like a gateway product to another. So one of the other templates that we have just illustrates how to set up analysis around gateway ASINs. So what are starting points for people when they first interact with your brand versus what they convert to? Just a couple specific ideas, but really we have 100 plus templates.
Wow.
And our partners, including folks like Helium 10 have built fantastic things on AMC that have even more diversity and for a lot of customers still provide a great way to get a lot of the benefit from AMC, no matter what their skill level is.
Yeah.
So it provides you that starting point, but really lets you implement all sorts of things unique to you.
I had a question here about different kinds of audiences. You talked about like an audience that has added your product to cart. What are some other examples or common use cases that you see advertisers using out there with success?
Yeah. I think another one is so if you, I talked about the funnel. So obviously, like if you added added a product to your cart, you're often very, very, very low in the funnel. But as you gain insights about different stages that people are at, different ways that they might first be introduced to your product, those audiences are giving you many different ways to try to move people down the funnel. So that's, I think, just a general sort of pattern that we've seen is that you can, it's one thing if you get an insight about where somebody's at in the funnel or that you might change your investment strategy about how much you're allocating to one kind of ad versus another, something like that. But you can use audiences to actually affect the funnel in certain ways too, to try to just get more people to the ultimate goal of purchase.
There is a vocabulary word from with a press release that was not familiar to me.
Which one's that? Automated
signal curation. So I'm like, we need to, first of all, at Amazon, we make acronyms about everything. So that maybe we can call that ASC or something like that.
Watch out. I'm full up on acronyms. I don't know if I can handle one.
We'll try. But give me the TLDR on automated signal curation.
What that I think is referring to is you don't have to do the work to get all the signals. So signals is I think a term used especially in ads to refer to just all kinds of data points that might originate on Amazon, from off Amazon. These things about what customers are exposed to your ads. What have they previously purchased? What's their purchase history? What do you know about your customer base? Who are your most loyal customers where you have, email signups for your newsletter or something like that. These are all signals that you can bring into an environment like AMC. One of the things that's great about it is it's automated, especially the signals from Amazon. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is start using the product. And just by virtue of you having set up and run a campaign on Amazon Ads, the signals related to that campaign, whether it's the impression events, the people that saw your ad, the click events, or the product detail page views and the purchases, these are all different signals that are brought into AMC without you having to do that work.
Okay.
So that's, I think,
that
all right.
A scenario. A lot of our podcast listeners know about a case study that we did a while back where we started a product from scratch. It's a coffin shelf shaped like a coffin. We sold probably $500,000 of that in the last years.
Is it for a coffin?
No, it's not for a coffin. It's like a shelf that you would hang on a wall, but it's has the shape of a coffin.
All right.
It was amazing. It was a great case study because it just shows you can sell almost anything on Amazon. And we still sell a lot of people see it on Amazon. But anyways, this product is not a huge winner these days. It still does, maybe low six figures a year.
Halloween's coming up, so
that's our busiest time of the year.
reaching peak Coffin shelf.
Market penetration
right.
for this is going to be very key here in October.
Yeah.
So for this product, $100,000 a year product, so you understand the level. Never done AMC on it.
Okay.
What would you suggest to me should be my first steps as I start dabbling into this?
I think step one is, so you the sales numbers, at least the basics and probably a lot more based on what is coming out of the tools that you have access to already, whether those are Amazon provided tools or something from one of our partners. So before you start using AMC, you don't have to, but you can just think big about like what are things I'd love to know? What are things about how my product is doing, about how my marketing, how effective it is, and just think big about what are things I'd love to know if just a lot more, just as an example about why did customers buy this product? How did they find it in the first place? What are they using it for? Maybe there's differences there. Now, not all these things are going to be, I think, possible, but really, the point of this is not to constrain yourself up front by just what you happen to get access to through the pre-built reports. So then using AMC, starting with the things that are very easy, where you can, with a couple button clicks, find, like if you have multiple different campaigns, well, how are my sponsor brands and sponsor products campaigns working together? Mm-hmm. I get the raw numbers on those. I see like, where is what purchases are attributed to somebody saw a sponsor brand's, banner for my product last, but how did they reinforce each other, those two different campaigns? You mentioned the product, and it's funny, I met a customer a couple of years ago that sells bespoke funeral urns.
I need to collab with
exactly.
With this
so there's a brand collaboration potential.
I can
right
put that
there.
urn in the coffin
on the
shelf.
shelf. Yeah,
there you go.
So, but let's say that your business actually had both of those products or something like that. You might find a sort of insight that affects what products you actually source or manufacture or sell, based on those insights about how people came in, what other things they're interested in. Those are things that you would uncover from starting to use the product and then seeing insights that didn't occur to you up front. A mix of those two, both what you came up with on your own and what you found from the exploration, I've seen that usually sparks some great ideas to then pursue.
All right, well, guys, I have my homework cut out for me. You guys have your homework cut out for you. It's available right now in your ads console. The audiences is already available in Helium 10. More features are going to come to Helium 10 to help you with AMC, but we need to hear from you. As you start dabbling into AMC and playing with it in the advertising console, how can Helium 10 help you? Let us know what you would like to integrate into Helium 10 ads, and we'd definitely like to help you guys out. But thank you so much for, first of all, bringing this cool tool to the masses. It's so important, and we look forward. Maybe I'd like to have you back next year at Accelerate, and I'm sure you probably have a few more things to announce that you've worked on.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.